Hello friends! So today I'm going to talk about John Scalzi's extremely awesome piece of science fiction meta, Redshirts. The concept of Redshirts comes from the series Star Trek, specifically the original series, although it carried on throughout all of the Star Treks. Basically, the Redshirts were ensigns, usually from engineering, who were completely expendable characters who writers put on crews so that they could kill them instead of having to kill one of the main characters and still kind of have that emotional punch of someone dying. The tagline for the novel, Redshirts, is "They were expendable until they started comparing notes," which may very well be one of my favorite taglines of anything ever. Redshirts is about an ensign named Andrew Dahl who joins the Universal Union's flagship, the Intrepid, and is overall pretty happy with his life. But then he realizes that something is very distinctly off about the Intrepid. And that thing happens to be that the captain, the chief science officer, and the lieutenant are the only people who are just totally never going to die on away missions. And everybody on the ship knows that. Thusly, Andrew and his ragtag group of ensign friends try to figure out what the hell is actually going on the Intrepid and what all of it means, while being very meta and very obviously about Star Trek. And it's great. And it's wonderful. And it's a little bit weird. And very meta. Super crazy meta. It's actually kind of amazing, to be totally honest. The actual narrative part of the story ends on 231, but John Scalzi wrote 3 codas in which the first one is written in first person, the second one is written in second person, and the third one is written in third person. To me, actually, those were the most interesting parts of the book. Not that the rest of the novel wasn't really totally amazing, because it was, and the codas were only really interesting because the rest of the book was so interesting. This part of the book is just so fun-loving, and so, like, there's some crazy stuff going on, but, like, it's just so lighthearted. And then these 3 codas are kind of about what happens to the people who aren't main characters in the book after the events of the entirety of Redshirts happens, which I find really, really interesting. And I think that even though I actually hate second person, the second coda, which was in second person, was actually my favorite of the 3 codas, which was really shocking and kind of a testament to how good a writer I think John Scalzi is, and how just like tapped into what he's trying to do he is, which is really remarkable. I think that if you like Star Trek specifically, but if you like science fiction television shows on the whole of any kind, or you like metafiction, you should definitely pick up Redshirts, because I think that it might be right up your alley, especially the kind of twist in the middle I think is really good and well executed. And I like the fact that John Scalzi didn't really explain certain things, because on a science fiction television show, you wouldn't explain certain things. And it's kind of this meta gag that, like, this is why I'm not doing it, because it doesn't actually make sense, because no one would ever, like, that's not how you do that. Which I thought was a really nice touch. And John Scalzi wrote for one of the Stargate series, and it's decidedly not about Stargate, as he likes to say, but he definitely understands the world in which he is pulling his kind of narrative feature from. So yeah, I definitely recommend John Scalzi's Redshirts. I know I'm gonna end up reading Old Man's War at some point. I don't know when, but I'm actually very looking forward to it. I know they talked about it on Sword and Laser, and I was really interested in it then, and then I ended up picking up Redshirts first, so I'm excited about that. Everybody should read this, especially if you like science fiction television shows, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace out, Cub Scouts. The main part of the series is set 3 years after this kind of rapture event happens, and it's kind of dealing with how the entire world, but especially the people in this one town, are kind of dealing with all of their loved ones kind of disappearing,